they've got the story about the grape harvest at Fables and Feathers in here.
I need to read that paper about the vineyard. They sure did have a great harvest. I was really surprised at how many volunteers they had show up to help them. I heard Tom had a 20% increase this year. They sure did provide a great breakfast. Muffins, casseroles, and everybody really enjoyed it.
Today, guys, we are picking wine grapes, and we're taking you along. Come on, let's go see what happens. Well, our day picking started off about 6:30 in the morning, and we were driving up to the vineyard through the valleys that were just stopped in with low-lying fog, but the sunrise was amazing. Check it out.
What I want to do is one bin per vine, so I can weigh stuff.
So, today we are helping harvest. There's a crew of volunteers here at Fables and Feathers, and we are helping harvest the Chardonnay grapes. And Tom has just explained to us that the birds have started coming out, and the sugars in the grape are where he wants them to be. But because we have had the cool nights, the pH is not exactly where he wants to be, but he was starting to see a lot of bird damage because they were getting ripe. So we are going to be harvesting. We have a group of probably about 12 volunteers, and this is the cutting tool that we're going to use, and it has a razor blade, and you basically pop that up in there where the stem's at and cut the clusters off, and we'll be putting them in those yellow bins, stacking them about putting them in about 3/4 full, and then stacking those bins. And Peepaw is going to be helping count the test vines clusters. Okay, so here are the bins that I've carried down, and I'm going down this row, and we're going to be looking for bird damage and removing the berries that have bird damage on them. And we'll see what I do. So here's an example right there of what the bird damage looks like. And so I'm picking these berries out that are damaged out of the clusters.
What we want and have to keep testing, yes.
And Peepaw's checking the test vines today.
What we've done, these are Chardonnay grapes, and these vines that have the orange flame tape on them are test vines. And so my challenge today was to count the clusters on the vines, and they average between 17 and 20 clusters per vine. How would you like to introduce yourself and tell them what you're doing?
I am Katie Lewis, other local vineyard owner, and we're also picking some of those Chardonnays. Grapes like these look wonderful. Pulled off one grape that had a little bit of bird damage. All we're using is our razor to cut it off on the cluster, toss it in. Sometimes you'll get grapes that have had a little bit of bird damage, like you see there. And all we're gonna do is pluck those off, because those aren't grapes that you'd want to have in your wine. And then what we have left behind are still great healthy grapes that are gonna make great Chardonnay for next year's vintage, or this year's vintage.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
This is an example of what we put in each bin, and this is, let me see if I can get a picture of it for you with the sun. All right, this is row 27-2. There was 23 clusters on this plant, which was one of the more highest and higher numbers that we had. And BD stands for bird damage, rating from 0 being no damage to 10 being destroyed.
Look at, you can see here, these ones that are more in the middle of the row, they have way less of the bird damage. These look really nice. And then you look for secondary clusters up at the top, that are small and not ripe, and you just pull those off and throw them down. And there's an example of a secondary cluster. They're smaller and still hard. And they're not turned at all. You see how they're really green? Plus, if you remember the video I did on sunburn, I've been seeing a little bit of sunburn on the ones more up towards the end of the row. These down here don't have near as much. This is one of my favorite things to watch when we're here. You see that right there? That's like a hawk kite that right now they've got it tethered down, but normally it'll be up and like flying up in the sky like a hawk with just the wind currents, and it's a bird deterrent. It's very entertaining to watch. Right now everybody's kind of gotten their bins about 3/4 full. See? And you stack them like this down the row. Then they come along with the tractor and they pick them up, put them up in the cooler. So they're going along right here between two rows basically and picking up what we have filled up and loading it on the Kubota, and then they'll take it back up to the cooler and stack them in there until they can crush them. Alright, so when we get the grapes, they're all in the bins there. We get the grapes, and we bring them back up here, and this is where their processing room is at, and the tanks and everything, and so the cooler's in here, and Tom's right there waiting to pick them up. So they got a nice walk-in cooler here.
Yeah, it's my home built.
Yeah, and it's full of grapes. But you can see all of their tanks over here. And then they've got some barrels too where they barrel age some stuff. And way over there is the bottling station, and they have a portable bottler that they move around there. We helped them the other day doing that, bottling. Did about 1,200 bottles. When you get breakfast.
Yes. It was like 100.
Hello friends, and thanks for giving us your time. And please drop us a comment because we just love getting those. But more importantly, keep going out and exploring. Life matters. We hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.